Good morning, I should say. Good morning, good afternoon, and or good evening for whatever time zone you're in and whatever time you're watching this video. Uh, I'm Simon. I'm here to give you your daily dose or your weekly dose, more like, of English coach and the philosophy that I like to promote. Today, my video is about destiny. Is it a thing? And a lot of YouTubers have created videos about destiny and whether it is actually something that exists, whether we have free will or we don't have free will. And there's a lot of factors involved. And I like to go through some of the factors. Whatever I miss and whatever I don't include today, please feel free to mention it in the comments below after the video. And listen intently so that you don't comment on something that I actually do include in the video, okay? So the first question is destiny fixed? Is there something controlling our lives throughout our trajectory that keeps us on one path that would be like a predetermined path that we don't really veer from, or we veer in a minimal way from that path, sort of allowing a god or a controller or a master to fit everything in perfectly, fit all events into the timeline perfectly without any anomalies. Okay. Um, but I think steering away from the metaphorical and the potentially the ethereal, and focusing just on what we could say is perhaps more tangible. It's not exactly tangible. The next question is: are you slowly more likely to become predictable in your decision making? This is the question that will answer the first question, which is destiny fixed? Okay, because the first question is destiny fixed? Well, I think the second question will answer that. Do we slowly make the same kind of decisions as we get older and older until we're kind of funneling it down into one predictable life and lifestyle? The first point in answering this question is about awareness of our reactions. So maybe there are those of us that are making decisions or changing our destiny based on our own predictions of how we will feel or how we will react in a given situation. If you win $1 billion or $50 million, whatever it is, how will you react? Have you already pondered on what kind of person you would be if you suddenly came into that amount of money, suddenly had access? How would that change your personality? Say, oh, it's completely useless to think about or ponder that because what's the point? But maybe there is a point to it. Maybe self knowledge is a potential path to breaking the mold, so to speak. So, awareness of our reactions also in other situations when we come into a relationship problem, we break up from the ones that we love, for example. um, Someone in the family dies. Did we ever stop to think how we might react, and or when this happens in our lives, do we follow a predictable course of decisions based on our own emotions from what has happened? These emotions have come up, and they are a result of, or they are an expression of our built-in personality, which means they are limited to who we are. And most people find it impossible to react to something very tragic or different in their lives from somewhere outside of their given emotions, you know? So they have no awareness. They are living life through their emotions. And this can be damaging, to say the least, but it also could be a way of living a fixed life or a life that doesn't necessarily change. I don't want to spend too long on that. So I quote that awareness could be a way of going outside of destiny, going outside of your predestined path toward probably not something too great. Okay. The second one is comfort zone. When you come upon an opportunity or something that could change things for you in a big way, but you don't give yourself to the change and you don't take the risks involved because you stay within your comfort zone. And the comfort zone is your everyday routine, and your comfort zone is what you're comfortable with in terms of taking risks, so you don't move to the next stage, you don't take that next step, you quit or stop trying on something that's just about to bear fruit because you can feel the pressure and you can feel that you're completely out of your comfort zone. So you give up and therefore you redirect yourself back into that path that could be predestined. In this case, let's say to mediocrity, which is most people's lives. Okay, there's nothing, even though mediocre and mediocrity, they sound like mediocre sounds like a negative adjective and mediocrity sounds like a negative noun, but it's normal. It's not necessarily bad or nor good. It's just kind of neutral. And neutral, maybe not is maybe not ideal. Okay. So the next one is connected with awareness, and it's about tragedy. So something forces our hand. It forces our hand. So we are forced to become another person. We're forced to um, go outside of ourselves. So it's connected with the awareness, and it's connected with the comfort zone a little bit. In that something traumatic happens to you, and therefore you lose all fear of risk taking, and so you, for example, you're involved in a car accident, or a bomb drops in the middle of your city, or uh, some horrible thing happens to you, but you survive, and from that survival you reinvent yourself, or you recreate yourself. Here's the problem. This could already be built into that predestined path, because you have that tragedy, you reinvent yourself, but you're reinventing yourself based on the tragedy. So for a lot of people, that could be a very predictable response to the tragedy. Oh, now I've had this tragedy in my life. I almost died. Now I'm not afraid of anything or anyone, and I'm going to start taking more risks, and I'm going to start living my life. So thinking, oh, this person is really playing with destiny here. They are going outside of their comfort zone. Well, not really, because your comfort zone opens up when you almost die, and so and when you lose a lot or you lose everything, the space in which you can act is so much more broader. There's so many more things you can do without being afraid, because you've already had that sense of loss. You're not afraid of losing anything else, and you can get a sense of power in that. But that's not necessarily that you are going outside of destiny. Okay. The next point is proving our elders wrong, or proving older family members, our mothers, our fathers, our grandfathers, our grandmothers, important teachers that have made affirmations about who we will become or not become, And as a direct result from that, a lot of people tend to fight those ideas, those, let's say, those beliefs of our parents that we will become a certain professional, or we are limited to making one kind of mistake, or we cannot get to one level of greatness. And so a lot of people strive based on that. But it goes back to the awareness, because sometimes the parents did it intentionally as a kind of reverse psychology, if you like, to make the person do the opposite. So, oh, you'll always be drinking too much, or you'll always be doing drugs, or you'll always be getting low paid jobs, or you'll always be dating the wrong kind of man or woman, you'll always be whatever it is, and making that like creating the mold for that negative connotation, um, hoping in their heart that their son or daughter will fight against that. And so, with low awareness, we can fight. We can still fight and still have an amazing life fighting against what our parents said that we would become. But with low awareness, we are still on that predestined plan. Something external, which could be part of life's program, which were the things that your parents told you, directly impacted you to go and do the opposite of what they're saying, to prove them wrong. So you prove them wrong with the false idea that you're changing destiny, but in fact you could be running straight toward destiny. If your personality was predisposed to combating or proving people wrong, you're going straight into it. If it wasn't, however, and you had to fight extra hard and you went out of your comfort zone and you knew exactly what you were doing, maybe you were a bug in the game, okay, or bug in the matrix, whatever you want to call it. So proving our elders wrong could be predictable, and we see it all the time in movies and stories, and it's super entertaining. It has a high entertainment effect to be able to watch someone who's been told that they cannot do something, and then suddenly they become a hero at that thing, or they become super at that thing. And then comes that moment of justice where they confront their mother or father or mentor or whoever it was that demonstrated that little faith, and tell them and show them, oh, look, I've accomplished everything that you said that I couldn't, right? But that doesn't mean that it's not outside of your given path. And then lastly, my last point is our vision versus convenience, which also connects to the comfort zone. So, for example, we have a vision of our life. All of us have a kind of vision of our life, and the vision of our life can be something more sophisticated, or it can be something more simple. But there's always one kind of dream or one kind of aspiration that we have in our heart that we would like to accomplish before death. Everyone has this. Everyone has this. And in the end, a very simple word to refer to this would be vision from my perspective. Okay, I use the word vision because they have this idea, because they know, sometimes they often know what the consequences or collateral impacts would be of achieving that thing. They've figured it out, and so it's a vision because it impacts many areas of their life in the future, and the idea of them achieving that gives them immense satisfaction, although they have to sacrifice and work extremely hard to do that. And one of the things that stops us from going toward that vision is convenience. Convenience, convenience, convenience. We see in a world where you can have everything at your fingertips, what's the first thing that happens to the human race when you can have everything whenever you want it? You become mega, mega lazy. And in one of my past videos, I made a comparison between laziness and stupidity. And on a long enough timeline, one becomes the other, in terms of starting from laziness and going to stupidity. If you're incredibly lazy and you're allowed to be lazy for a long enough time, you slowly become stupid because there's no there's no utilization of the brain necessary. So what happens is you become one of these creatures that slowly developed a smaller brain because in an evolutionary sense, you no longer needed it. You no longer used it. So 5-6 generations down the line, people in a case of convenience and hyper convenience would theoretically become stupider, right? A lot stupider. Whereas when we follow the vision and we go outside of our comfort zone, we make sacrifices, we take risks, and we declare things to ourselves and go after those things, not just to fight our parents' view of ourselves, but for our own personal vision beyond that, then we are seriously making steps to destroying that predestined path and finding out what we were supposed to become outside of the predestined path of mediocrity. And some of you would say there's no way to prove that your predestined path was not to be great, was not greatness. And to that, I would answer, look at your beliefs, look at your personal beliefs about convenience, your comfort zone, and anything else. And look how it feels when you go outside your comfort zone. Because we don't have evidence for a lot of things, but they can still exist, including God. We say, oh, we have a feeling of God. That doesn't prove that God exists, but a lot of us still have that faith that God exists. In the case of going outside of your comfort zone and sacrificing things so that you can get to the next level, we have a shift in consciousness. There is a shift in consciousness when we get off the sofa and start living this different life. We feel different, not just for taking action, but for believing, and there's a shift, there's a consciousness shift. And I would say that this could be possibly the moment where you're stepping outside of your predestined path. So the predestined path is synonymous with the comfort zone, with an ongoing comfort zone that you live through your life. Okay? This is quite a complex video. If you could keep up with my rationale, with my way of thinking, congratulations. If you couldn't keep up with my rationale and you find some of the ideas don't make sense for you, stick a question down in the comment section that I can answer for you about it, because I am adding ideas onto this theory that there is a predestined path and there is a list of actions, or a list of initiatives that one can take to get themselves off that predestined path. Usually the predestined path is mediocrity. Okay. Thank you for being here on my video today, and see me on the next one as soon as I can send it.